Progressive Americans are converting to Islam. The feminists have discovered the Quran, you guys. In recent times, a notable shift in the sentiments of young progressive Americans has been observed, particularly in the context of the Israel Hamas conflict that escalated after the 7th of November attacks. This shift is characterized by a growing affinity towards Palestine, as indicated by an NBC News poll revealing that 35% of Americans aged 18 to 34 hold negative views of Israel. This changing perspective has led to an unexpected phenomenon: an increasing number of these young Americans exploring Islam, with some even converting. Megan B. Rice, for instance, found resonance with her progressive values in the Quran, describing it as anti consumeristic, anti oppression, and also feminist. This trend extends to social media platforms like TikTok, where the hashtag Quran Book Club has gained significant traction, highlighting the curiosity and engagement of these young individuals with Islamic teachings. However, this trend also coincides with growing rifts between Muslims and liberals in the West. Zarina Jurwal, a Yale associate professor, encapsulate this trend, stating, quote, just as racist people are looking for verses to confirm their racial biases, people on the left are looking to this book to confirm progressive messages. Every scripture is complex and invites multiple readings, end quote. This trend is especially concerning, considering the experiences of ex Muslims, many of whom have left Islam after witnessing or enduring abuses justified under its teachings. They view this trend as a misguided romanticization of religion without fully grappling with its complexities and the real world implications of its doctrines. So, my friend, the kids are converting to Islam.
Why? Why would that happen in response to the October 7th attack? Shouldn't it be the other way around? Like when we had the rise of ISIS, we had a wave of people leaving Islam. So how is it that with the October 7th attack, we're getting the opposite? I think ISIS, what ISIS made, which was a mistake, that made a lot of people lose support for Islam, was that they didn't target Jews. I think that was their that's what Hamas understood the key um, marketing tactic that ISIS was missing here, right? So a lot of people looked at ISIS was like, oh my god, that is brutal, that is disgusting, that is barbaric. But then Hamas came in, and a lot of the world reacted like, well, actually, maybe
Yeah,
we don't know.
Yazidis
We
don't have the
shouldn't. We
same
should.
brand recognition.
Right, yeah. Maybe we shouldn't be too quick to condemn. Again, YouTube, this is not our views. I'm just saying what the double standard here is. The appeal here, I'm just trying to uh, explain what the appeal here is. Okay, so again, not our views. We're just basically discussing other people's views. But do you think that's the main difference?
I think, okay, based on what I was reading in articles that were highlighting this phenomenon, is that there are people who, according to their own words, they wanted to understand the Palestinians' resistance and spirit, and they attributed that to Islam. And so to better understand that, they're like, how do these people still thank God after everything has been taken from them? I want to understand this.
Mm.
And so they pick up the Quran and they start reading, and it resonates with them, and they think that it's as, oh my god, that we could, so I read a profile about this phenomenon in The Guardian, and this profile itself, we could spend 2.5 hours by itself dissecting it, because it's also talking about how, oh my god, the Quran makes scientific claims and people are like, wow, we have a religion that doesn't run away from science, it engages in science. And I'm like, oh yeah, the scientific claim that the world is flat like a bed sheet and has four corners, the scientific claim that semen comes from the spinal column of the of men's tailbone, basically. Like, the scientific claims about embryos that are completely inaccurate? What are you talking about, scientific claims? What are you talking how many years have people spent debunking this? It's, like, patently ridiculous scientific claims. Like the scientific
Mm.
claims that the stars are freaking the oh, what is it? The asteroids are, um angels that are, like, running to keep the secrets from being captured by demons? Am I misremembering that?
Uh, yeah, shooting stars are um, God's weapons against demons who are trying to go to the heaven, where the angels are, to listen to the secrets of the universe, of the cosmos. And what shooting stars are basically weapons that God throws at the demons so he could keep them away from that part of heaven, so that they can't have those secrets. That is in the
And
Quran, basically. That's what you're referring to.
it, like, makes me rip my hair out because we've been seeing this phenomenon on TikTok, and Armin Armin must freaking hate me because he's been sending these to me straight to my DMs, and I get so angry. I'm like, "Why would you do this to me?" You sent me one, um, video of a girl who has started a white girl with beautiful blonde hair, who has started promoting the Quran on TikTok, and she was basically saying, she's like, "Oh my god, guys, did you know that in the Quran, your husband has to spend money on you?" And I cannot say out loud what I was thinking about her when I saw this because, I'm just
well,
gonna
well, I have her on. Do you want me to play it?
I'm gonna get so upset. Yeah, but play it.
Yeah, okay, okay, hold on.
Oh my gosh. The Quran is telling men to spend money on women. Yalla Habibi, come to Islam. It says
Wait,
here in
wait, wait, wait! Don't say anything. I want to hear her yalla, yalla
Can't
habibi.
take
Hold on.
it.
Wait, wait! Don't say. Hold on. Just give me a second.
Oh my gosh. The Quran is telling men to spend money on women. Yalla Habibi, come to Islam. It says here in Al Nisa, number 34, men are protectors of women because God has made some of them excel others and because they spend their wealth on them. Yalla Habibi, come to Islam. It's so nice over here. And also, and give the women their dowries willingly, but if they of their own accord remit any part of it to you, you may make use of it. You have to pay women their dowry. Pay women, give them their money. This is so incredible. I have never heard of a religion that upholds women to such an amazing level.
Wow.
And encouraging the men to protect them, to provide for them, to take care of them. Islam is at the top for women's rights and giving women a very high status in society.
Literally just hearing this again, like,
Okay.
I'm gonna throw myself off this chair. I'm gonna throw myself out this window. I can't freaking take it. Yeah, Zaid is making the immediately obvious point. Oh my god, guys, did you know that the Quran says your husband can beat the shit out of you? Like,
All right.
hab uh, Yalla Habibi, Habibti, did you know that because your husband is your protector, that means that he's your property and he can do what he wants with you, essentially?
Okay. So, guys,
He's
we're not
instructed to put his hands on you.
okay. Can I? Let me. Because a lot of people might think that sh- we are just making this stuff up. Like we're just a bunch of Islamophobes that can't take it that people are saying the truth of Islam, and we're just like quickly go to oh, Islam tells you that you could beat your wife, and we're just haters, and we are just trying to make Islam look bad. But she is reading the Quran and she's understanding it properly, and she's like, based on the Quran, Islam is actually pro woman. Like, she is telling the man to take care of the woman and give her money and take care of her and protect her. And no matter what we do, at the end of the day, some people will read the Quran and see the truth. Okay, so that might be some people's takes, right? So just so that you don't trust us and you trust the Quran itself, I am going to bring up the very verse that she's mentioning. Okay, so let's go to what the verse that she's reading. And I don't know, is she, Susanna, help me out here. Is she stupid or evil? Because she must have read the whole verse. Like, I am, like, she couldn't have just like read the first part of the verse and just be, because she's not reading the entirety of the verse. She's reading the first part of it and then she stops. So does she know that if she reads the entirety of the verse is not going to look that appealing? Or did she just stop herself and just she'd be like, okay, that's good enough for me, I'm just like, is she knowingly not reading the entirety of the verse, or is she just stupid? Like, I don't know, like, which one do you think it is?
I don't
Because
know.
let
I
me,
honestly don't know. I don't know because it could be the situation where someone was trying to incentivize her and get her interested and presented her with only half of it, and she didn't bother to look up the rest. I try not to contribute to malice what can be contributed to ignorance or
okay, so
incompetence.
again, let's just be very careful. Let's look at the verse that she's mentioning. Okay,
Oh my
so she said,
gosh. The Quran is telling men to spend money on women. Yalla Habibi, come to Islam.
look at
It
this.
says here in Al Nisa, number
Al Nisa, so that's Surah woman. Okay, Al Nisa
Also
Surah,
known
this
as the
the
most feminist text in the world, babe.
yes. So Al Nisa means woman. So that's chapter 4 of the Quran, Al Nisa. So it says here in Al
number
Nisa,
34.
number 34. She literally picked the verse in the Quran that most people who wanted to show how bad Islam is, that's the main verse people go to, and she picked that verse,
Men
right?
are protectors
So
of women because God has made some of them excel others and because they spend their wealth on them.
okay, the excel others part, she's talking about God. The Quran is saying that men are superior to women. That's what the verse is saying. Here, let me bring this up. Okay, so again, look at this. This is surah, you can see up here at the very left, Al Nisa. All right, and and here, chapter 4, verse 34, right? So I brought up a couple of translations for you guys so you can see all of them. So it said either men are caretakers of women, are yeah, caretakers of women, or men are protectors and maintainers of women. So this is the part that she likes, the fact that men are caretakers of women. She likes the fact that men are supposed to take care of women. But here's a part that is not really feminist, since Allah made some of them excel the others. Or here you can say, because Allah has made one of them excel over other. So basically, God is saying here, because God has made men better than women. So this is why men are supposed to take care of women, because women are not complete. They are they can't take care of themselves. Men are better. Men are better in many different ways, and that's why it's kind of basically treating women like children, like they
We're
can't take care of
intellectually
themselves.
deficient.
Yeah, well,
Permanent
not just
permanent
intellectually.
dependence.
Yeah, I mean deficient in many different ways, not just intellectual, but yeah, definitely intellectually as well. Okay, and because they spend out their, what they possess, right? So but then again, the rest of the verse is what, this is not even the most damning part of the verse, the fact that men are superior than women here in this verse. It says so. That's not the most damning. If she read the entire verse for you, it keeps getting worse and worse and worse, right? So it continues like this. So the righteous women are obedient and guard the property and honor of their husbands in their absence, with the protection given by Allah. As for women of whom you fear rebellion, okay, here it says rebellion, here it says, okay, here. And as for women whom you fear rebellion, here it says rebellion as well. So I'm not making this up. Okay, so a lot of places it says rebellion, and a lot of places it says that you fear disobedience, fear rebellion, or fear disobedience in other translation. It says first you convince them, you try to speak to them. Second part is then, and then you leave them apart in bed. By the way, this convince them, you have other translations here saying admonish them. So you have admonishing them or convincing them, and then you leave them in bed. So you kick them out of your bed, you don't let them, and then beat them. So, okay, so God is saying, again, these are not women who are not necessarily disobeying you or rebelling against you. These are women that you just fear rebellion, like even before they rebel against you, even before they disobey you. As long as you fear rebellion, God is telling them that if all else fails, like if you talk to them and they don't listen, if you kick them out of bed and they don't listen, then it's a commandment. Again, this is not a suggestion, this is a command to beat them. Okay, so again, if this is the bad translation, you could look at here as well. It says beat them. Beat them, beat them. Okay. Then, if they obey you, do not seek a way against them. Surely Allah is the highest and the greatest. So it's telling you that if they start obeying you after you beat them, then don't beat them anymore. Forgive them, and Allah is amazing that He lets you to not beat them eventually, basically. So again, she is reading this verse. This is the wife beating verse. This is the wife beating verse, and she's not reading the full thing for you. Like she must know that this is the wife beating verse. She must know that. So why is she not reading that part?
I don't know. There's a possibility she has some like whitewash translation. But there's another video in the news article that I want to show.
Yeah, the whitewash translation says beat them lightly, even though the Arabic script doesn't say lightly. But the most whitewash version of the verse, it doesn't tell you not to beat them. It just tells you to beat them lightly.
My friend Mujahid, Jay, one of my favorite degenerates, is saying, "What about the women who like to be beaten? The Quran is all knowing, even for kings."
Then you promise them to beat them, and then you don't. That is evil.
Oh, because that's the real punishment.
That would be real. Yeah, that would be real. I know that word.
Spoken like an experienced dom.
So
is this the other one you wanted to see?
Yeah, and then there's also one in the private chat that I want you to put.
Okay, I will bring that up. This
one made me rip my hair out because I don't know this person, but I know of them, and like from what I've seen online, like I got beef with this person.
Wait, let me get the other one ready as well. Oh my god.
Rami is saying, "You're such a tease, Armin."
All right, listen.
Just started reading the Quran and I am so excited about it. People thought when I first asked that I just wanted to read it out of curiosity, but I want to read it to study it. I started following somebody on social media that teaches the Quran and hosts a Quran book club for Muslims and non-Muslims, so I'm really excited to start going to that. She was describing the chapter of the bee and that just blew my mind. Like the way that she describes things, the way that the Quran describes things actually makes sense to me. And also, did you know that Allah is beyond gender? Did you know that actually scholars believe that there are two Qurans, the Quran of nature and the Quran, the actual book? And did you know that each chapter is named after a natural phenomenon? I don't know, this whole book is just blowing my mind and I am so excited. I got sticky notes so that I could mark out things that I was drawn to, and I'm not even through the first chapter and I already have a bunch of sticky notes. I'm definitely gonna have to buy more tabs. I'm honestly having a whole revolution with myself where the way that I describe the universe and the things that I believe in are actually described in the Quran of believing in Allah. And I've never thought that I believed in God before, and now I'm really having a revolution of self of
I think I actually believe in God. If you've been curious, I really recommend it. There are a lot of people who are converting. There's a lot of people who are reading it. I'm not saying I'm going to convert. I'm not saying that I wouldn't. And I don't know. I know that this is exactly what I need right now. I just wanted to say thank you and just point out how excited I am.
Amazing.
Zayd had a comment saying, Susanna, why are you doing this to me? I thought we were friends. Okay, well, guys, Armin sent this to me and I had to suffer, and now you have to suffer too. You're welcome. And just in case you guys are not understanding what that was, that is a person who is female, who is taking testosterone and has had a double mastectomy to cut off their breasts and is openly non binary and pushes, like, for lack of a better term, like non-binary rhetoric. This is a creator on TikTok who refuses to condemn Hamas because Israel is a colonizing state, refuses to condemn Hamas. Which is
Unbelievable.
crazy to me because there are people who are part of legitimate national liberationist movements and they would never do the stuff against a colonizing power that Hamas has done. Because Hamas doesn't act like like other nationalizing liberatory resistance movements. Okay, but that's besides the point. And this is the same person that calls other transgender people who disagree with their specific form of transgender ideology, whatever you want to call it. There are transgender people who are like, you know what? I think we should have medical criteria before transitioning. There are transgender people who are like, why are we should acknowledge and be proud of our biological sex. That's part of what makes us trans. And that creator that I just showed you calls those people violent for having that opinion, for sharing that opinion, but refuses to condemn Hamas.
Mm.
And it's the same person being like, did you know that Allah is gender neutral?
Unbelievable. So I have another video. By the way, before I share this video, do you mind saying this, because you said at the beginning, instead of saying October 7th, you said November 7th. So just so for our video editors to be able to
Oh,
get to take this part and put it there, can you say attacked Israel on October 7th, so we could just cut this part out and put it there?
attacked
Just
Israel on October 7th.
there we go. So we could grab this
Okay.
part and put it there for yeah. All
I
right. So this
apologize because
is
dyslexia jumped out. Oh, this is the same woman as before. And guys, all you
right.
ex-Muslims in the live chat who have been literally tortured by your family and abused and cast out from society, maybe literally had to flee your country on foot to try to not be murdered. Don't worry. The new 5-minute white convert, Abby, she has a ruling and you're going to be okay. You ex-Muslims, you're going to
Oh,
be okay. Don't worry, Abby's here.
what? I haven't seen this. What is this? Okay. So this video, you want me to play
Yeah,
this one,
just
right?
click on the video.
Okay, hold on.
Is there a death sentence for those who leave Islam? This is something a lot of people have brought to my attention in the past few weeks. And the word for it is apostasy. So, in other words, leaving Islam and not believing in Islam anymore. Okay, so I think I found an answer in the Quran. So, it says here in Al Nisa, or 4, Surah 4, 137. As for those who come to believe and then deny the truth, and again come to believe and again deny the truth, and therefore grow stubborn in their denial of the truth, God will never forgive them, nor will he guide them. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is that the person is going in and out of belief, okay? It's showing that in the Quran. So, if a person were to be killed as soon as they stopped believing or they left Islam, how could they have the opportunity to come into belief and out of belief again,
Oh my
as it
God.
is showing in the Quran?
She doesn't understand the
So, based
rulings.
on the Quran, which is the ruling source for all of Islam over any hadith, I do not find that the death penalty is able to be applied to apostasy. or people who leave Islam, because it's saying here in the Quran that people are going in and out of faith, and they would not be able to do that if they died the first time. And about the second part of this verse, about God never forgiving them or guiding them, this is if they grow stubborn in their denial of the truth. So if someone is dead set on not believing in Allah, Allah is not going to force you to believe in him, okay? So if your heart is open and you want to find Allah, he's there. But if your heart is closed and you don't want to find Allah, you don't have any intent to find Allah, then he will not force you to.
All right, so two things. First of all,
Thank
it's not like a
thank you, sister, for the ruling.
all right. So hold on, let me write this down because I might forget the 2 points that he brought out because they're so wrong. She says that because people, Allah is pointing out to people who are coming in and out of Islam, that means that you shouldn't kill them, because how could you come back if you move out of Islam? How could you come back into Islam? So if you're killed, right? So it's not like a code that you write when somebody comes out of Islam, they just automatically get deleted, right? Just because you haven't had the opportunity to kill every single person who leaves Islam, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't when you can. When you can, the Islamic, there's no contradiction here. The Islamic ruling is that if you find out that somebody has left Islam, you are supposed to execute them. But obviously, you're not going to be able to do it all the time. Your responsibility is, well, not your responsibility. The responsibility of the Islamic ruling, like if you have an Islamic state, is to execute whoever leaves Islam. But obviously, that's not going to be happening to everybody all the time. A lot of people could just not be caught. A lot of people people might be leaving Islam without living in an Islamic state. So just because people leave Islam and then come back to Islam, that doesn't mean the ruling doesn't apply. So her logic fails there. That's the first one. The second point that she brings is that Allah doesn't want to force you to come to Islam. Well, she literally just read us the verse that tells you that Allah will never forgive you for these things. This is an implied force. Like, if you consider, if you punish somebody for not making the decision that you want, like even not just the execution of people in this world, if you believe in Islam, you actually you believe in a bigger punishment. You believe in the punishment of eternal hellfire and torture, right? So if that cannot be considered force, then what is the meaning of force? If you say that if you don't come to Islam, I will burn you forever, that's literally what we mean when we're talking about forcing people. And that's exactly what Allah is doing based on the specific verse, based on the exact verse that you just read. So there's that. I mean, that doesn't, it's, I don't know why I'm telling these
I don't
people are
know, but
beyond
it's
logic.
also
So I don't.
I know they're not even trying. What drives me crazy is that it doesn't even take that long of doing research to understand that out of all, maybe not all, out of most of the conservative schools of thought, the way of handling that situation is for men, if they are known to be apostates and they are captured, they have 3 days to repent before they are executed. So she's saying, well, like, how can her guys, I love her phrasing. I have found. I have found in the text that okay, well, how if we kill them, then how are they going to return to Islam? They're no, Habibti, girl. If they are believed to have committed apostasy and they are captured, they are given 3 days to repent under duress. And if not, like you say, there is no forgiveness. And what do you think happens after that? According to the other conservative schools of thought, if there's a woman who's found to be an apostate, the way of dealing with her, and according to what I have read, my understanding, my research, is that they don't execute her, they just beat the shit out of her. But don't worry, there's no compulsion. There's no compulsion. There's no duress. It's absurd.
So it's true in Islam that there's no compulsion in religion. It's a very specific part of Islam, right? So it's true, but people apply it in places where it doesn't apply, right? So what is not a compulsion is for you to become a Muslim, okay? So as long as you're people of the book. So if you live under Islamic ruling, you are allowed to remain a Christian or a Jew as long as you pay the jizya and you live under the submission of Islam. So that's specifically what I mean when they say there's no compulsion in religion. But but there is a compulsion in abiding by Islamic rules. Even if you're a Christian or a Jew, while you live in the Islamic under an Islamic state, you have to abide, you have to submit to the Islamic certain rules that Islam forces upon you. So Islamic rules, there is a compulsion in Islamic rules. There's no compulsion in you converting into Islam. There is also compulsion in you remaining a Muslim once you become a Muslim. So again, remember that no compulsion part is true, but it's incredibly selective. That's what people have to understand. Also, a lot of some. Yeah, go on. You want to say
No,
something?
that's exactly what I wanted. That's why I said it, because I wanted you to bring in
Yeah,
the truth behind that.
right. Here's some interesting comments. 5 minutes a Muslim and mental gymnastics started already.
I saw that. I died, bruh.
And this comment, I had no idea TikTokers could issue fatwas. One does learn things on the internet. That's fantastic.
Okay,
God.
we have some amazing comments I have to read. So
Yeah,
I have
answer.
no
Yeah.
idea how to pronounce his name. But before we even started the show, they said, "Do Muslims join their palms while praying?" And forgot, if you didn't see the thumbnail I created for this stream is like a girl with her face full of piercings with half pink, half blue hair, wearing hijab and praying like this. And that's actually the joke. The joke is that they don't know how to pray the right way. I'm glad you caught that.
Well, okay, so it depends on what you mean by pray, right? So in Islam, we have salat or namaz, and then we have dua. In English, we have praying, which is just one thing, but in Islam, there's two types of praying. The prayers that you have to do as part of your duty, which is 5 times a day, and Shias have come up with a way to make it 3 times while still calling it 5 times, right? So that is salat or namaz in Persian. But there's another prayer that you just like ask something from God or just talk to God randomly without that being part of that 5 times a day thing that you're supposed to do. And that is dua, right? You just do dua. And when you do dua, and which is not part of your duty, it's just your just conversation with God, there are certain hand gestures that you do, and one of them is this. You know, people do Muslims do that. Like you either go like, if you are, you don't need to do a hand gesture. You could just be like, dear God, and blah blah blah, and just talk, right? So you could just do that no matter what. You could do it whatever you want. You could have your asshole up if you wanted to, right? You could do anything, right? But the common gestures are this and this. So there is, I've seen people, Muslims do that when they're praying, when they're talking to God sometimes. I don't know where they
Um,
get that from. But yeah.
Oh, and this is a good reminder. Sarah is saying Happy Ex Muslim Awareness Month. Guys, if you are not aware, December is Ex Muslim Awareness Month. So if there are people that don't know about the BS that ex Muslims have to deal with all across the world, it's an amazing month to make some posts about it, maybe tell some people about it. Just wanted to put the word out. Nasreen gave us a super chat saying, I'm a Arminist and a Susannaist. Love you guys. Thank you, Nasreen June. Merci.
Thank you, Nasreen.
Um, Laplace's Demon gave us a super chat. Thank you, saying, "Can you make an impartial video about the history of the Israel-Palestine conflict?"
Well, no, because we are not impartial, and proudly so. What I mean, the truth is not impartial, so why should we be impartial?
Oh. Um.
Yeah,
Uh.
yeah, but I might
'Cause
do debates on that. So
yeah.
I might try to do some debates on that. Yeah.
And then because we're talking about Gen Z, Kshitz is saying, Susanna, are you Gen Z? I'm like right on the edge. I'm right on the edge. I'm right on the edge.
Mm.
And however, I say that I'm a millennial. I'm like I'm one of the last few years of being a millennial. But the number one thing that makes me a millennial, is that I remember 9/11.
Ooh.
I say if you
That's
cannot
right.
remember 9/11, you're not a millennial. Because I have people that are born within 1 year of me that don't remember. I'm like, you guys are Gen Z.
Mm.
I remember that. I remember that. I mean, I was like, it was before I was even in kindergarten, but I remember it. And that shaped a generation. So I'm a millennial. Erican gave us a super chat saying, in Islam, the only thing a woman can refuse is their dowry. Is this accurate?
Well, not the only thing, but they can refuse the dowry if they want to. But it's not the only thing. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
And
But I see the point.
yeah. Newman gave us a super chat saying, I apologize for her and I love you too. Newman, you don't have to apologize for anything. You are,
Why is she apologizing for?
unless you're the person feeding Abby verses out of context, you have nothing to apologize for. And then Jay is saying she's a CIA psyop trying to recruit incels into terrorism. And you know what, Mujahid? I think this is the best explanation we've found so far. Gasian American gave us a super chat saying, I wonder what her archive of our own history is like. For those who don't know, archive of our own is like a fan fiction smut website, essentially. She might have a submissive kink. In the Omniverse, in the Omegaverse, excuse me, many fics are of strong alphas marking and nodding their omegas. Gasian, why would you bring that up right now? I'm not going to explain what any of this means for people that don't know. Oh my god. Gasian also is saying, what should we call Gen Z School of Islam?
I don't know. I have to think about that. Gen Z.
And he's also saying,
Yeah,
not gonna
guys,
lie,
leave a comment. Leave a
yeah,
comment.
exactly. What should we call the Gen Z School of Islam? We
Yeah.
need a new name.
Yeah, guys, this is the question of the week. Leave your answers in the comment section.
To maybe, our friend Rivka always has the funniest jokes. I feel like we should have something. She always says Wokistan or Wokadiju for like really regressive people that support essentially like.
No, but specifically with regards to their it being a school of Islam. Let the people decide. Let the people speak. So after the show, guys, leave your comments. Yeah.
Occasion is saying, not gonna lie, the call to prayer in Quran is low-key soothing. Or lo-fi is soothing.
I mean, for people who haven't been living under Islamic theocracy, I can see that happening. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things regards to the traditions of religions, even though the religions teachings themselves are barbaric and bring poverty and misery. A lot of for the sake of their survival, a lot of things in Islam and Christianity and Judaism were made beautiful and interesting and artsy. So and the good thing about being an atheist is that you could enjoy that. I could enjoy the beauty of a cathedral without having to believe in the nonsense of Christian theology. I could look at the beauty of a Hindu temple and enjoy it as an atheist without feeling like a hypocrite, because whatever is beautiful is beautiful. I don't have stupid rules for myself trying to be like, oh no, I cannot enjoy, if I see an Islamic song, for example, that is beautiful and that is enjoyable, I'll just enjoy it without believing in the nonsense. Easy peasy. Yeah.
And Rami is saying she found this made me laugh so hard. Thank you for the super chat, Rami. Saying she found a loophole that even Ibn Taymiyyah couldn't.
That's good.
Zaid is saying this seems to This seems to me like satire designed to trigger ex-Muslims. I refuse to believe that people can be that idiotic. I promise you guys that this is
They can't.
100% authentic. It is sincere because when I was living in Oakland, I knew this girl who was like non-binary, would wear her makeup literally almost like a clown all the time, like one of those punk types, like an anarchist, Antifa, wanted to shoot cops dead in the street and converted to Islam and started wearing the hijab while still doing the full, like, damn near clown face paint and still saying that they're non-binary and all this stuff. So I know these people in real life. It's real. They think that it's anti-imperialist and all that. For those far left people, that's what they like about it. Yeah, it's real. Erican gave us another super chat. Thank you, saying the cult of compulsive lying at its finest. For these people, again, I don't think it's lying. I think they're just very ignorant. Like, I try not to contribute to malice what can be contributed to incompetence. And Gaijin is celebrating his membership for 23 months. Thank you, Gaijin, saying hashtag Zillennials represent. Well, Gaijin, we're about to get into another really bad story, and you guys are not sending your best.
Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.